Well, I read a story today from one website that Adongo had said to his people that they should just relax, you know. JM is in charge.
Yeah, man.
You know. There's another story I will deal with. It's a very strange story, the SIC thing. But I need to get the other side because I don't want to just run with just one side of the story. Because we've spoken to James Ajini Boateng, who has made some very serious claims about his office has been locked, he's not been able to enter. Now we are told that the immediate past or the outgoing MD has instructed the lawyers to file an action. So she's actually sued the company and the incoming MD. So it's taken a very different twist, and we'll probably touch on that briefly. By the way, those of you don't, let me just go to the list of deputy ministers again. So finance is Thomas Nyako Ampim, MP for Esuojaman, a surprising pick from the Eastern region. Interior is Ebenezer Oklete Telabi. I wouldn't really say a surprising pick because nobody knew who was being penciled for that role. So you can say it's a regular pick. He's been deputy minister in the previous government. He's been a minister before. He's MP for Manya Krobo. Defense is Ernest Brojajemfi, who is a former, or is it the current, an executive of the NDC. I think he contested for youth organizer and did not win, but he's been there or thereabouts. So in the Ashanti region, defense deputy. Education shouldn't be surprising. Dr. Clementa Park.
Doc.
He's actually a linguist. Oh, what was his area? Archaeology.
Yes.
Okay.
He was a station manager at Radio University.
A vandal. So Clementa Park is deputy. Although Peter Notukotoe may have a thing or two to say about this, because he has also been quite visible in the education sector as the ranking member. Clementa Park is his deputy ranking member. So a Park MP for Bulsa South.
So he's going to be there with Haruna Idrisu.
Yes. Energy and Green Transition is an interesting pick. Richard Jan Mensah, MP for Gumua West. Now, the thing about Richard is a lot of people don't know that he used to work in the petroleum sector, in the downstream, in the private sector before he became a politician.
Interesting.
So for those who know the sector, they will not be surprised at his choice.
Right. Energy.
So, because I do know that he was involved in petroleum and energy before he entered politics. Roads and highways, Alas and Sweeney is not surprised. I was actually thinking Sweeney would go to lands because of his work on
the he's been on the parliamentary committee.
And he's also led actions on this forest thing. He and some other MPs have even tried to file a private members bill on this forest reserves being converted and that type of thing.
I remember when the former lands minister was doing the rounds around the western region. We were on that trip and he was there as well. Very vocal on
but I actually think it's a good pick because you know, one of my frustrations with the Ministry of Roads was that we were not getting a lot of
engaging
interviews with the minister, and the ministry is quite technocratic. But I feel like because roads have become so important in our public discourse, you need people who are public facing to explain things, to go on, carry journalists around. Let's engage the contractors. Let's talk. You know. So I hope Suhini brings that open vibe. Because this minister is an architect. He is also fairly media friendly. So I think Suhini will help him.
On that note, let me say good morning to my former, our friend, not former, but our friend, I'm talking Terminator, it's been a while, The indiscipline in Parliament, I wish to hear him say something,
Caleb, behave. So you are talking about the former Minister for Roads. Good morning to him. Very interesting pick for Attorney General's deputy.
Justice Shermsai.
Not a known
politician, not an MP, also an academic. Ghana.
I'm very excited about Justice Shermsai because I like his ability to distill. I don't like legalese. You're like me. We don't like people always. The Constitution, the standing orders. He doesn't do that. He just basically comes and says, "Look, let's make this very simple." Then he breaks it down, and I like this. And I think because our society is very litigious. Look, if you do a breakdown of the news items we do, probably 40% law courts. Everything court. Our policy is dominated by law people. So if you have an attorney general or deputy who tries to make things sound simple, I think it's good. I'm not sure if you have enough time to be doing those things because he writes a lot on Facebook. But once you become a deputy attorney general, I don't know whether he's going to continue. So we'll see. But I think it's an interesting pick because he's seen as somebody from outside, even though he's actually inside.
Yeah.
You get a point. So he's not. There was actually I had a wild card for deputy AG in my head, but I guess they didn't see Nick Bako Samuado.
Oh,
I mean
he's a professional litigant.
I like the guys.
He loves litigation.
Yeah, so I actually had him as a wild card for the role.
Yeah, so that he'll be doing the court stuff a lot more.
Yeah, because
I see that.
I've known him for years, and I think he was born in a court. Because Nick Bako.
When he's in the studio, you can hear the whole building is coming down. Good morning, sir.
Nick Bako Samuado, but
I have to say, I'm surprised tourism got a deputy.
I
felt that was on the place.
Yeah,
I discussed with my mom. I said, she said it's important.
No, tourism is, and you see, it's tourism, culture, and creative arts.
Wait,
it's big.
I don't think we should conflate importance with need for a deputy.
Okay.
I think need for a deputy has more to do with workload.
Okay, I'm saying the work is significant.
Every ministry is important.
It's important, yes.
I think,
or it wouldn't be there.
So maybe the way you should look at deputy is whether
the workload, so that you need someone to be deputizing and taking part of the work. Yeah, I think tourism, looking at what tourism has done for us, we can leverage it much more. And in terms of the significance, we need all hands on deck there. So
you do have a problem.
I think tourism is starting to become a net negative. Actually, because you have to remember that the way these things is, it actually ends up pricing locals out of some of these things, especially when our currency is doing so badly. So all these people come, and now people start pricing their stuff for tourists, meaning that a lot of the year, if there's no tourists, people can't enjoy their facilities. It actually starts to affect.
That's an interesting point.
Yes,
because think about hotel prices, for example, in Accra. Hotel prices in Accra are ridiculous. If you are someone who travels a lot and you've been to other places, you know that hotel prices in Accra don't make sense.
Yes,
so it means that if anyone, let's say they are coming from anywhere else in Ghana, wants to stay in Accra for maybe a weekend and they want to get a hotel,
they price out the locals.
Yeah, so it can actually become a negative depending on how you manage your tourism. And I don't think we manage our tourism well.
They say it's the charges. When you ask them, they say the reason the
taxes.
They say the charges and the taxes are high. But I take your point, because the tourism industry is can be anti-local. For example, locals can't travel to many places because they can't afford hospitality in those places. So if I took you to say Mole National Park, many people cannot afford Zena Lodge because it's priced with the foreigner in mind. It's not priced with you in mind. And that's what has hampered domestic tourism. So he and his minister have to think about unraveling that, whether it's the costs and the taxes that you have to reduce, because I think that there's a lot more to be gained from domestic tourism than just foreign tourism.
And if locals can afford it means the foreigner can definitely afford it. And
so
they
should work on volumes and not on value. So it looks like the tourism industry, they can have a hotel, 4 people come a week and they are okay. But if you had more people coming through, I don't know.
And that's even how you get more jobs and that kind of stuff. So I feel like our tourism industry, we are not running it right. We are making money off it, but I feel like we could do a lot more, like you said, because domestic tourism seems to be completely ignored. And that's why we are here. We talk about which parts of the country have people been to, and people they haven't really been much out of where they live, or where they moved somewhere to go and work.
But do we know much about Yusuf in terms of his interest in tourism, or his I don't know. I haven't heard him in the conversation on tourism yet. What I know is that he's MP for Ayawaso North.
Yes.
And he's vocal on certain kinds of issues. I stand to be corrected here, so maybe I should be. I haven't heard him comment on. But I mean, most of these people who have been appointed haven't commented on these roles until they were given the job. So whatever.
Just a quick point on the tourism thing and how it can be progressive or something. It's a thing we did in tourism class. I mean, somewhere in geography, and there are some nations where the citizens actually protest mass tourism because they say it also hampers their culture, in the sense that when you have a lot of foreigners come in, they come with their lifestyle, and some of them can be contrary to the kind of life that they live and all of that, and truthfully to a lot of the things can be, the locals can be priced out of many of the things. But whilst I take that point, I think local tourism has seen a boost in the last couple of years. You find a lot of people traveling Ghana, seeing Ghana, doing things in groups.
You're right. When you look at there's the data they shared from the Ghana Tourism Authority where they showed us the most visited places. So for example, the most visited place in Ghana, can you guess?
Was it Aburi Botanical
Yes.
Gardens? Yeah.
And that is usually local tourism. It wasn't foreigners. Aburi Botanical Gardens is patronized by a lot of locals. So I think that if they can find a way of doing price differentiation, locals must pay less. So if I can show my Ghana card,
actually they do
it's
that.
the vending of
Every place I've been to as a tourist, and I've gone there, some of my family are from other parts of the world and that kind of stuff. There's a Ghanaian price and there's a foreigner price and that kind of stuff. So that one is there. And we even mentioned it on the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum that there's all of those places, they generally do foreigner price and Ghana.
Students, adults, foreigners.
Yeah, exactly. They have some way they do it. So that one is already there.
Okay, let's go through the rest. So tourism is a good one. So Yusuf Jaja, look forward to hearing him at the vetting.
Yes.
Lands and Natural Resources, MP for Bole, which is the president's constituency, Yusuf Suleimana. I actually thought
that means they've made them happy now.
No, I actually thought he'd be made Deputy Minister for Trade because he was the deputy ranking on trade, and I've had him comment a lot on trade issues. But I suspect sometimes some of this also need base, right? He's from Bole, he's an experienced guy. Maybe they feel the Lands Ministry needs his experience there, because the Lands Ministry have a very tough job.
They do.
To deal with all these.
Also, they had 2 deputies over there.
No, Land is serious. They had Benito and somebody else.
Yes.
So Land is serious. So Yusuf Suleimana is the MP for Bole. He's the deputy minister. I like this one. Local government and chieftaincy.
Retana Odole Soa.
When I listened to her on the vetting, I actually told somebody I think this woman can be a substantive minister.
Yeah,
she actually understands what she talks about.
Yeah.
When she's asking you a question on vetting, you can tell that she knows what she's talking about, and it's not that way for all of them.
From lands to chieftaincy issues to trade, she came across very strong. And if you followed also her advocacy in the constituency in the last couple of years, she's always there when the residents are demonstrating. She's holding press conferences. So she has held her own, and I think that she can bring to bear all that she has shown us over the years to the ministry.
So we wish her well there. And then we have works, housing and water resources. Another exciting pick, Giselle Tete Abotui, a built environment person. So I like to describe built environment very broadly. So whether you're in engineering, architecture, building technology, or land economy, they call them, or surveying. These are the built environment professionals. Now, her minister substantive is not known to be a built environment professional, so I think it's great to have a. I think she was an architect.
She is an architect.
Wikipedia says she's an architect.
All right. So Giselle Tete Abotui, MP for Ewutu Senya West.
She went to Cairn University, by the way.
Yes. So she's the deputy for Works. So she's a good one. And then, as we said, Yusuf Jaja, tourism, culture, and creative arts. And then initially when I had John Dumelo for Agric, I gave a double take, but I thought about it and said, you know what? If you watch his social media posts,
he sells himself as a farmer.
I even think that in making young people find Agric to be quote unquote sexy.
Yes. He's the poster boy.
He's actually pushed because he's showing his plants, his animals, he's in his farm.
He brands himself as a farmer. Outside the things he goes chilling with the students and things he was doing on the campaign show. His branding now on social media, people don't talk about his movies and stuff. It's a lot about politics and farming. And his main thing right now seems to be farming.
And don't forget, he's also done processing of some of the things that he farms also. So he's been doing some processed ginger here and there, and a lot more advocacy with respect to that. So it's an interesting pick. It's
a high profile person in parliament who won a very competitive seat, and obviously the president likes him, the party likes him. The regional ministers, the regional chairman of NDC told me that on the morning of the voting he went to John Dumelo's constituency again to go through. They really wanted him to win. And I think they see he's bringing youth into the party. I think that youth in Agric is a big thing. If he can be deployed to get young people interested in farming, I think it would be a good thing. I think it would be a good thing. So we wish him well. And then finally, Samson Ahi. I actually thought Samson Ahi would be a substantive minister. So I was shocked that he was not given it, because he's one of the most experienced MPs in the House, about 5 terms. He was deputy for Works and Housing. And if you look at, I guess because somebody from that, the region is small. So for regional balance sake, you can have you have only 60 ministers, and you may not be able to have 2 substantive ministers from Western North. I guess that's probably the only reason why he wasn't made a full minister. So he's going to support trade, agribusiness and industry,
which is a very big ministry.
So I guess his experience helps
but
with
Bernard,
the minister.
Let me take you back to a point you made earlier in the year about having seasoned, experienced former ministers playing roles in the regions and sectors. You see, so if you have someone with the kind of experience that Samson Ahi has, doesn't necessarily have to be a minister. If you have someone like Isaac Adongo, for example, they have all these experience that they've garnered over the years. But we are saying that the real game, the real issues are the local government level. Of course, these are MPs. But if you're looking for some of the seasoned, party people, and we are looking for results translating the government's policies and promises.
So not all experience will be ministers.
Exactly. So we should not expect everyone to be minister, especially when we are saying that this is at policy level. But if you want to see execution and implementation, that's on the grounds.
So 9986996.
But Joshua from Oyaefa says the Ministry of Transport should have 2 deputy ministers, with one specifically designated for aviation and aeronautics. This sector is crucial for our future as a key player in global advancement. Alternatively, His Excellency the President should consider establishing a dedicated agency for aviation and aeronautics development. Joshua, you didn't add where else the other deputies should be focusing on, but Aloski, tell Caleb we need Adongo to spearhead the Parliamentary Finance Committee. That one to be key.
Okay.
All right. Good morning, Bernard. I'm excited about the nomination of Honorable Thomas Ampim Nyako, the Honorable MP for Esojaman, as Deputy Finance Minister. And as much as I would have wanted Honorable Adongo in that ministry, I believe the nominee is very capable of delivering his services. I'm also happy about Honorable Farmer John Seto Dumelo's nomination. It's about time we started fielding people with practical know-how at some critical sectors of the economy. Lastly, I think Honorable Adongo should be made the chairman of the Finance Committee in Parliament. I don't think it's a lesser position to occupy. This is John, the boat driver inside Akwetema. Talking about people who know their stuff. Ben, I thought the former agric minister was a very...
Who's this?
I'm talking about Dr. What's his name? Riakoto.
Oh!
Yeah, he knew so much. He came, there was a lot of expectation and everything.
Why are you going with all of this?
Okay, it's fine.
Why are you going with all of this? just stay focused.
No, you see, it's betting. There's a lot of talk about cocoa, and there is a cocoa farmer. His father is a renowned cocoa farmer. After all that, when I think about cocoa, Charlie,
you know what?
It's okay.
Let the man, let bygone be bygones. Caleb, this is not. What's the name of his TV show?
Back pitch.
I apologize.
This is not back pitch.
I apologize.
Stay focused.
Aloski and Caleb, good morning. I am fully aware that not everyone will get an appointment. However, 2 irrefutable names must be considered. Zaneto Ajaman Rollins, you say Zaneto MP. Asin South, you add. I think JDM should do well to sort them out.
So let me say something about that. So I think that some some potential minister nominees have become victims of regional balance.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, for example, people keep talking about Zaneto Rollins for a role. Yeah. Greater Accra is a difficult region for any government because if you are let me make it easy. If you are an MP from the Volta region, you are essentially likely to be from the ethnic group from the largest ethnic group there.
Yeah.
All right. But Greater Accra, there are so many MPs who are not Gas or Gadang based.
Yeah.
So, and usually the Ga caucus of the party will be, or the regional caucus will be basically saying, look,
pushing for their own.
You get that point. Yeah. So if you are MP for, say, Medina, Amadou Sorogo at the time, he was not a minister.
Yeah.
So I didn't expect Francis Xavier to get a post. So I think that affects places like Ashaiman and all of those, because if you are going to give somebody a post, so you have Namo Molate, Krowa, Rita Dofolesowa, Dade Kotopon, Samonate George,
Ningo Pam.
You follow the logic.
Yeah.
So you see Jaja, fine. NDC is strong in the Zongos. So if he's MP from Mamobi, make a minister, it's not a bad thing. But in John Domelo, of course, he appeals to the urban youth. But it's going to be tough
for another one to come from Greater Accra.
So I think that plays with Zaneto's advantage because he's MP for a coastal community.
But you also have promised to have more women there, and out of what you just brought, you
but
have
she's not the only woman. So that's what I'm saying. So if you talk of health,
I get it.
So you can say there are quite a number of people from there, and you don't even need to be a doctor to be a health minister, because the ministers of the doctor.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
Even in that same breath of a senator,
if you're looking for women, then there's Ayensu too.
There's Ayensu Dankwa, and then there's even Titus Bayo, who's the former GMA General Secretary, MP for Lambusie. You see, so I feel like people like Zaneto may become victims of regional regional equations.
Well, that is true.
Which may not balance.
Affirmative action.
But you see, I also feel like when we are sitting here saying this person is minister, why?
That's
is
a
it
good
because
question.
we see them?
That's a good question.
Is it because
do you know what they can do?
Exactly.
Have you worked with them before?
Why not?
JM,
you don't know the people.
JM and the party people probably
they know them better
than
yeah.
So if they don't give them a ministerial position or appointment, they probably have their reasons.
The truth is that some people have created a media following. Some of them have done advocacy.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. When Ano Elita was made Minister for Gender, a lot of people in the media were excited because even before she became a politician,
she had worked in that area.
You understand? She showed that she was interested in gender, children, and women's affairs.
And in my view, she's probably the best we've had in that space.
You get the point. So you can understand when people lobby in a certain sense for certain kinds of people, because they say, look, in this Ministry of Gender, you need somebody who has, because it's a difficult work.
Yeah.
So I can say that for some of the roles, it is justified. But I agree with you when you say people shouldn't just assume that because somebody is popular on social media and the journalists like interviewing the person would be a good minister. Because minister work is not just interviews. Minister work is not necessarily interviews at all.
Yeah.
All right, and that's why they have PROs. All right, for example, the guy who's the Minister for Works, I've never heard him give an interview before.
True.
I didn't even know him. Apparently, he was even a deputy minister. I've never heard of him in my life.
Because that's what I was saying.
But he's probably good, because a lot of people said he was pretty good. But I've never heard of him, and most people in the media had never heard of him. But the politicians in parliament gave him a pretty cool vetting, because they thought highly of him.
Yeah. So I think generally when people say this person should be a minister, it's I've heard this person in the media. They're eloquent. They know how to talk and things. But they might be eloquent and lazy. We don't know. I'm not saying that anyone that's the case, that's not why they were chosen. I'm not going that far. But we don't know the person in a work setting. We know the person forward facing the media, how they talk. We know Bernard from how he talks. We don't know what Bernard does in his house. So you can't say you know him.
And let me even add that. So you see, the other problem is that the path to politics is hastened by media appearances. So this is what happens. Young politicians want to grow. So maybe he starts as a nook something, then he starts appearing on a show. And he says, look at Sami Jemfi. Is media created? In a sense that he's lawyer, he was a leader in law school, whatever. But his appearances on media, I was like, no, this guy is sharp. Because no matter how intelligent you are, you need a platform to show it. So what tends to happen is that people use the media as the place to sell.
No, it's true.
To sell their... And the other thing is that people feel like if you can speak well, you should... And this is a very complicated, controversial point. Generally, this is not a universal fact, but generally, if you can explain things cogently and logically, it sort of hints the way your mind works. So, do you understand my point? So, and this is so because a lot of these guys are either lawyers or whatever.
Yeah.
So, if the person speaks, also, the guy, if he's this intelligent, but you are right. And minister work, there's human resource things, there's emotional intelligence, there's integrity. Yeah. All of those things,
even stamina, because you might be working long hours. And I always say, you see, people overrate communication in the sense that it's direct, it's in your face, it's something you deal with one-on-one. So people overrate in the sense that if someone is a good communicator, it makes them think better of the person. That one is normal because that's how you interact with people, you interface with them. But there's so many other skills that go into every job.
That's why they are technocrats also, Bernard. I mean, also because one of the frustrations I'm sure you can speak better to is the fact that you have someone who is highly spoken of as an intelligent person but is not able to communicate. I mean, all the ideas are stuck in your head. So if you are leading a group of people in a ministry and you want them to understand the ideas and vision you have, and you're not able to communicate better to us, those who are appointing you, those who you are working for, how can you lead the people that you are working for? So it's a two-way thing.
So I think Caleb has a stronger point in my view because, I was looking at a McKinsey research they did, and they interviewed people in like 200 companies about maybe 36 leadership behaviors. Okay, I'm trying to pull the research. And I sort of, when you look at the leadership behaviors, decision making, empathy, good listening skills, decisiveness, all of those things, about 60% of those leadership behaviors were in what you call communication categories. Do you understand what I mean? Because I need to put the thing in. So it's basically what they're saying is that it is difficult for a good leader to have bad communication skills. And communication is not public speaking. They're basically talking about interactions, listening, and that kind of thing. So the point is that communication skills are very important in leadership roles. But being a good communicator doesn't make you a good leader.
Yeah. But you see, Bernard, even the communication skills that we see are not necessarily the communication skills you mentioned, because empathy, listening and stuff, you won't see whether someone is a listener when they're on radio.
Good point.
If they go on radio and they're arguing and they're putting someone in their place, quote unquote, and those things, that's not the communication skills you are talking about. And that's what I mean, that's what people like to see. That's what makes
100%,
people popular.
100%.
Like, I'm not saying that communication is not important, but I'm saying what the communication we see as the public from these people cannot tell us whether a person will be a good leader or not. That's my main point.
So let me just give you the point. So the guy, this study was done by, just to help us, McKinsey, right? A survey of 81 organizations that are diverse in geography, so all continents, industry, agri, consulting, energy, government, insurance, mining, and real estate, from company size between 7,500 to 300,000 employees. This is McKinsey's Organizational Health Index, and they have what they call the 4 top leadership behaviors. They solve problems effectively, they operate with strong results orientation, they seek different perspectives, and then they are supportive. Then under each of these 4, they give you 4 sub behaviors. So for example, solve problems effectively, they champion desired change, they develop and share a collective mission, they give praise, they offer critical perspective. And on the second point on results orientation, they clarify objectives and rewards and consequences, they differentiate among their followers, they keep groups organized and on task, they recover positively from failures. In terms of the perspective side, they said they communicate
proactively,
prolifically, and enthusiastically, they facilitate group collaboration, they make quality decisions, they remain composed and confident in uncertainty, they also support it, they develop others, they foster mutual respect, they motivate and bring the best in others, and they are role model. Now when you distill these points into, a lot of them are they are interpersonal skills. So I take your point on, and the other point is that our society has changed. We're in a social media world where, like John Dumelo now, most people don't know he's a farmer, but he's managed to market farming based on his social media skills. All right, so that's also an important part of governance, because it's not just about making sure that people get the fertilizer, but it's also about making people understand what government is trying to do with agric. Okay, sometimes politicians overcompensate for communication because government ministers go and sit on air and just discuss their party's performance, which is not necessarily the best thing to do, because your job is not to just talk about what you're doing, but to actually do the thing. All right, so I agree with you, but I also feel like these days, if you're a good communicator, you stand a better chance than if you are not.
No, and even listening to what you said, the only thing I can say is associated with coming on radio is communicating prolifically. That's one of the points you made, right?
Communicating prolifically and enthusiastically.
Yeah, that's the only thing that you can get from seeing someone on radio. The rest of these skills, you can't get it from seeing someone on radio or on TV. Do you get what I'm saying?
I know.
That's my main thing.
But I can also look at their track record in their former work. So, for example, how does a person behave in their constituency? All right. If the person is an MP, how do they organize their constituency?
That one is fair, but even then, unless you're a constituent or you're paying close attention, which a lot of people are.
Or what's their previous work experience?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's more so that a lot of people are not paying attention outside the radio and TV. That's more what I'm talking about, which is understandable. We are busy. Like, I can't say that I'm going to monitor every MP what they are doing in their constituency and things in that way. No, so that's fair. But I'm just saying that it's the perception versus what you actually need.
When some of the names come, I mean, we all say what we know about them. Some are our classmates. Some of them were your classmates, Bernard. Some of them you know through work experiences with people have interfaced with these ministers. Like people always say, the leaders we have, they come from among us. So when people say, oh, they have confidence in this one, or they protest someone, it's also because we know them, we live with them, and we've seen how so when people often complain that when people get into politics their life change, on what basis do they say that? It's because before they got into office we live with them, we probably go to the same parties, we meet within the same social circles, and we know their track records. We've done projects with them. Those who will take money and not do the work, you know them. So when people come out to boldly challenge some appointments or endorse some,
people
from some place also
people let me give you an example. People will be
interest.
People will be disappointed because, let me give you another example. You remember when we did the program on Polugu Dam?
Yes.
So I interviewed Dr. Gisol.
Yes.
Okay, he's an MP for Wa East, deputy ranking member on Agric. Right. Clearly, he's somebody who is interested in the field, and he's been ranking member for I think 2 terms or whatever. He's not gotten a mention yet. Maybe because of regional balance issues. I'm sure people will be disappointed. It's like, why is John Duelo getting the job from Accra?
Over here.
I have worked in the ranking as a ranking in there. So this thing, there's no method to it. It's just what the president sees and what he wants to do.
Are people going to parliament just to become ministers? So that then if they don't get the ministerial job, then they won't do anything again.
That's the point.
Then we should do by election.
Which is why people are asking for constitutional change. And the other funny thing is that the constitution doesn't even say that all your ministers must be MPs. It just says majority of them. Majority of them. But what tends to happen is that the presidents look in parliament first, and when they look in parliament and they find the right person, they pick. If they don't, they go outside. And I think they also feel like if we give MPs the minister work, it motivates people to aspire to be MP. But some people feel like it reduces the MP's focus, so he becomes a minister, he doesn't do his legislative work well. I don't know. Here are some more comments, by the way.
Right. So this one says, good morning, Bernard and Jim. I think health is the only ministry that needs a deputy. Data has proven we can run this country with 30 ministers. This is what Ghanaians are looking at for.
Where's the data from?
Hi, Bernard. I'm one person who is still shocked at not seeing Honorable Adongo's name yet, but I believe he knows what is in store for him from President Mahama. There are so many powerful officers left. Then there's something big coming the way of Honorable Adongo KD from UK Senator Caleb. Honorable Rachel Laporte should go to Transport Ministry as deputy. This is from Gordon. He said, I've not heard her name in a long time. She be in Parliament.
Gordon is sharing the post from his house.
Rachel Laporte.
No, Gordon says they should give the post to Taliban.
She was a one-term MP, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
So, good morning, Citi. The health ministry needs to have a deputy who has a background in health. Either Professor Yensua Dankwa, the new MP from Joe Gatte's constituency, or Dr. Zaneto would be a good choice.
Yeah. I saw that woman's health CV. It's very serious. She's a very senior doctor.
But let me tell you something. Again, this is so subjective.
Yeah.
All right. So, for example, we know that there's also cultural issues. How can you cope with the workload? And the
human beings there too.
You see, I pity people who are taking this job. So, because you see, if you want to actually do a true and proper work of even running an organization, look, it's a very tough job, and the skill sets you need are so broad. It's not like you can't go to school to be trained to become CEO of Cocoa Board. It's your life's experience. Okay, I do know that for some, if you've been in a company for long, it's easier. So maybe you've been at a bank for like 10 years and you've grown in various units. So maybe you went to Unilever as a management trainee on a special program. So this week you are in supply chain, next week you are in marketing, next week you are in finance. There's a system of training people to run a Unilever. Okay, now this is my worry. You are having very important state agencies, and we don't know the track record of the people, except that they have done politics and they are popular in the party. You can't expect them to outperform, say, Coca-Cola or Unilever or Pepsi, because the kind of process that you will be taken through to rise to become, say, the CEO of Unilever, you can ask him. Even when they pick you first as a management trainee, first class student, right? They sift you, write an exam. In 5 years, then places would have put you through to even get to a position to be considered leadership. It's a leadership track. So by the time he gets to leadership, he's done sales, he's done finance, he's done HR, he's done supply chain, he's done marketing, and he's probably gone to 6 countries. He's learned how to speak French. He's learned how to eat with fork and knife. Now, this is a private company. Then you come to Ghana, you take a big state agency, then somebody's a government communicator who's close to the president, you make him the CEO. Good luck to him. Good luck to him, because you see, I work with a CEO. I don't envy his job. I don't want his job. I can't do it. His hair will go white. You go and cut it. Every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, knee is there. Do you know why? Because you wake up in the morning. I'm giving how to run a company. Wake up in the morning. We plan to do program strategy meeting. Then Bernard says, "Oh, come on air today." Then some money we have to pay to some people. He has to go and deal with some finance issue. Then somebody is sick, so the person's mother is calling you some HR issue. Then some guy was going to steal somebody's food, and you have to separate from a committee to solve it. Meanwhile, some people owe us, they are not paying. And then some of your staff are receiving bad press in the media. And good luck if you are coming, somebody hasn't run their car into your car. So as you are coming to, somebody ran their car into your car. So as you just sit there,
the things that you have to do for your own personal life.
Prior to that, somebody to your family members to say they want a work, so they brought somebody to come wait for you for forgotten. So they are coming to do and the other thing is that you don't even have. And it's a very crazy work to be an effective CEO of a. So for me, the way we talk about I'm going to. What did they give you? Oh, they gave me SIC. Oh, they gave me Goyle. They gave me.
It looks like there's pecs.
Let's be very careful, because for me,
the pecs
running a company is a very difficult job. And the fact that you are even close to it doesn't mean you can do it well. Because the training to be a manager is both nature and nurture. Where you've come from, your experiences in life, what you've learnt in school, how you recover your temperament. He uses humor to deal with pressure. So like there's a lot of stress on us, we just be laughing. It's not because he's a comedian, because there's a lot of pressure. Do you get me? So if you've not been honed, and this is state agencies, a long list. Somebody said, "Oh, Aloski, please send me the list of state agencies and I want to look at something." It's like they're just saying it like bread. It's like, oh, it's left with 10, or it's left with 2 regions. It's no wonder when SIGA goes, they all fail. Pesa White has a very difficult job. He's the head of SIGA, and I'll say to him, I know him, Pesa White. He will realize very quickly that a lot of the guys running the agencies, a lot of it's just PR they've been doing. And real management, learning how to deploy people to bring growth, stability in a company. Sometimes by the third year, when the person is experienced to do their work, his government is out of power. So for me, let's stop using Has and Kotoko mindset. I prefer this person for this job. You don't know what the job requires. And if you look at the SIGA report, our SOEs have been poorly run for decades, possibly because of this mindset that it's a reward. If he gives me a job, I won't take it, because I don't want to do it. I can't do it. It's a very difficult job. Yet people who have done 2-3 weeks of politicking, 1 month, 2 years, come on, they went around it. I pray for them. I pray for them. People are sending names of who we should give work to. Says like, give this person this job. They are sharing the post like trophy.
Someone suggested it should be like a normal job application. People apply, and there's like a board that's constituted to interview them. You know, the same way you do any job.
They do it for the DCs.
I think now it's. I think we are trying to crystallize this suggestion for the DCs.
The DCs.
Even with that, we might have some hurdles, because you see, you might end up selecting one, and assembly will reject the person. That's one. Let's say that even within the universe of your own party, you can have very qualified people. You understand? I think that every leader at that level should be mindful of the outcomes of their own effort. You know, so I like Susu, so let me put him in charge of maybe National Ambulance. Somebody from National Ambulance just hit my car, so that's why I'm late. You know, and just because he's a party person, and I like him too, not because if I do my own projection, I believe that Susu can deliver. No.
Media will deliver. Or don't.
No, I'm just saying that that's what has happened from 2004 coming up. And I'm telling you,
it's become
authority.
So that's when the thing changed. Then
that's when the thing started changing.
2004.
After the Haruna and Sekou issue with the party, then the gates were open for everybody to enter.
So pressure on the president to
appoint our people. So if you let this serious governance function sound like spoils of war, where we have annexed the territory, so let's share. Okay, first know that for you to run SNIT, you are not going there to pick money like you pick fruits on the farms. It is work to be done. It's very serious work, a combination of leadership, management, actuarial management,
a bit of legal understanding, marketing,
everything.
Positioning, customer
service.
If you
sell it to the recipient
as a reward,
he will go there thinking he's going to get some money to chop.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, SNIT is a very complicated organization.
Fight and all over the place because in their mind they have been rewarded
for campaigning.
That if you say it's a reward, money, what else should I do? So why are we surprised when we see the stunted nature of our government or agencies, state institutions?
They sit up.
We cannot compare our state institutions with any of the institutions, even in the sub-region. In the sub-region, we had every opportunity to grow Ghana GCB Bank to get into. We were in Nigeria, we were in Togo
initially.
Yes.
Wow.
GCB was in Togo and doing well.
Wow. This is possibly the 80s.
Before London. London first. Yes, we're in London. GCB proper in London.
Wow.
Cheapside Avenue. There, Cheapside Avenue. That's the address. It's there.
Wow.
You understand? So I'm just saying that we are retrogressing and we are very proud of it.
Politics is
if we
continue
this culture where politicians come into authority or governance and then they upset the establishment of state institutions by appointing people whether they are qualified or not on the basis of political expedience, it will not work. It will not work.
Well, you cannot grow an organization beyond the quality of the leader.
Yes. So for me, you can decide that I'll take only MPP people or NDC people, but even within the MPP or NDC, find the right people.
And don't let public pressure and give me my share be what determines it. Interview the guy, make sure he knows what he's supposed to do, and then give him the job.
And then some people go and then they go and clash at a place and they are fighting. It's for me. This one to say it's for me. I came first. I mean, what?
It's serious. It's serious. I mean, people go and share. The people leak letters and things and
we can't do that. This Ghana, we are. Look, right now, Bernard. Right now, Donald Trump. Is trumping all the way
he's going. He's serious.
Dealing with Canada, dealing with Mexico,
China,
dealing with China, dealing with everybody.
He said South Africa. They don't even go there.
Are there South Africa?
They said they won't go there. Their foreign minister will not go South Africa because of land matter.
No, as for South Africa, he's thrown the warning that if he doesn't return the land, he's coming after them. But the point I'm making is that all these things, as far away as they may sound, it will start having a toll on us very soon.
But the question I have for you and Samens would be, how should we approach training the next generation of leaders for these kinds of roles? Because it looks like it's not. Yes, Samens.
No, finish the question.
It's fine. I'll finish the question.
Why won't you ask me the question? I can't answer the question.
You can answer. But before you come in, it's first of all dangling the ideal character of leaders that we want people to emulate. That's the first thing. Okay?
Yep.
We can't grow leaders in the name of I am rich and all I do is I showcase my wealth on social media and expect somebody to spend degrees only to be like you.
Exactly.
What are we talking about?
So who is your role model of a good leader?
Right.
That's the first thing.
What is the image of a good leader?
Oh no, I was looking.
No, that's point one.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that how do you prepare them?
Yeah.
So this is what I'll say. generally the funnel is political visibility and godfatherism. That's the funnel. And so in that funnel inherently is flawed, because for people to gain prominence as a young leader, he sometimes has to take extreme positions. So he leaves school as a SLC executive, he goes on a radio station and is attacking so that he will be noticed by some big man who will say, I like you, so let me give you support to go and nurture a seat. I think that's a bad way of raising leaders. Now let me qualify it. There's a role for politicians and politics, but I think the parties must now grow the corporate classes. So for example, NDC Professional Forum, I think they can if I were a member of NDC, I would have said they are a constituency of NDC. MPP had the Young Elephant something thing, they have something like that, where professionals
are nurtured,
so they can say that Pro Forum of NDC, we have our quota. Okay, they shouldn't keep quiet. They should say, we are the guys who worked also on the intellectual ideas. We also did. So Pro Forum should be able to say, give us, this is the way we calibrate these positions, and involve us in it, because they are professionals who are NDC leaning, as against just party supporters who are foot soldiers. Do you get it? But the Pro Forum people, they don't talk. I don't hear anything apart from some PLA. I don't hear any of them say anything.
For you.
Yeah.
If you woke up one day to hear that Eduji Tamaklo or say Tony Lita is the Attorney General, will you be surprised?
Oh no. He can do that way. Yeah. Because he's worked
this
in the
field. All we are saying.
Exactly. Right. Because you see, for some of them, for example, if you take Eduji Tamaklo, if you look at the law firm he works for and the work they've done and the quality of lawyers there,
track record,
he's a politician, but you cannot question his competence in terms of the
suitability,
in terms of the 100%. The level of work he's done.
And we've seen him done serious court cases.
Do you understand my point? So there's no so that's what he's saying, that you see, if you have to find a way of ascertaining their professional competence by the work they've done, or at best their potential by the promise they show, but not just by their visibility. Do you understand? So I like the example you gave of Eduji Tamaklo, because if you go to his law firm, if you look at the list of people there, so the lead guy is Ayine. Then you have Ayarige's name there, you have Amalibe's name there, Eduji Tamaklo's name there, Sami Jemfi's name there. It keeps coming down. It's a big firm. I think they have like 20 people or whatever. So you can tell based on some of the work he's done, but for some you cannot tell, and you don't know. Okay, and we are in a season where, because a new party has won, everybody's happy, they are just changing people. But I think that they should take a very careful look at, because this is my argument, agency head or an SOECU is more important than a minister, because it's at the agency level that the rubber meets the road. The minister is at the policy level, so it's almost like saying
he's giving instructions.
The quality of the news team is not just on the news editor. The reporter on the ground is key, because the reporter on the ground cannot write a proper story. The news editor will run, her hair will all turn white. Do you get it? So we see this ministerial thing, and we are looking at ministers. They're only 60, but running a state agency like FDA. Do you know how critical FDA is, or Ghana Standards Authority, or Minerals Commission? These are very important, or even
EPA, DVLA.
You get it? So these are highly important. So look, I think the EPA boss is probably more important than even the Minister for Environment.
True.
Because the Minister of Environment may not interact every day with companies in their work.
Actually, should not.
Yes. So if the EPA boss is not solid both on a technical and on a managerial side, and which is the other point? So the question you ask, second answer. So number one, I said the person must have professional competence. Number two, there must be a right balance between technical and managerial, because they are not the same. So Thomas Obindakun is the head of our technical side. All right, he's a technical person, but he needs to learn management to do his work well. So he was taught his technical thing in the school he went to, but he has to learn how to manage human beings, how to assign roles, how to follow up on things. Do you understand that? So the management component is as critical as the technical component. A lot of these guys who are appointed, for some of them it's easy for us to say it's a good appointment because we know their technical side. So even with the Eduji Tamaklo of this world, he needs to prove his managerial competence, because he can be a great lawyer who does great cases, but if an organization of 200 people, who include people who are on the field,
diverse interests,
some of them are 10 years older than you, some of them are your father's classmates, you may become a disaster if you don't understand how to lead people. And that part of leadership is also not considered. You get it? So I just say that we need to, for me, I've become pragmatic. I think our political parties have become the vehicles for winning power.
True.
So what we need to do is to get our political parties to be more serious with leadership development. Number one. Number two, they must take their professional members more seriously. So the professional members of these parties should not see themselves as afterthoughts. If you're a member of an NDC Pro Forum, you are as legitimate as a party executive in the region. They shouldn't think that they are second-class citizens in the party, that the people who are, maybe I'm also West organizer, so I have a big post. No. If you are in a Pro Forum or whatever MPP calls their version of that, and you are maybe in the health subsector, you are very important. You get it? And they should assert themselves. Because at the end of the day, everybody is lobbying for the president to choose. If you're a professional in finance or health or education, you should be visible. They should also write articles. Don't leave. Okay, let me get. Why should you leave radio station and paneling to maybe a party communicator? Why can't you, as a professional in, say, education, volunteer some of your time to go and speak for your party on education if you believe you're a professional? That's the problem. No, let's be real. If somebody spends all their time as a young former NUCS president talking for the party on 10,000 subjects, of course you become a minister, because you're the guy who believes that you have a qualification and you are pro-NDC. You say you are working. So the people who are the professionals should also find a way
of asserting themselves.
Otherwise, nobody's going to mind you.
Let me give a rebuttal to this. I understand what you are saying, but I think sometimes the communication part, like we said, because it's a skill, just because you are technically qualified, it doesn't mean you can go on air and do the giddy.
Write articles.
These people do on the
write articles.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that when we talk about these professionals and technical people and why they don't communicate, sometimes that gap to be able to use your technical skill, come and communicate, is not there for everybody.
But I'm not saying
it's just a rebuttal.
See, what I'm saying is that, you see,
it's not that I don't disagree with you, but I'm just also being fair about why they might not be coming on air.
Let me give you an example.
Well,
John Gachi, he's not the most eloquent person in the world, but he's an economist who is obviously NDC leaning. Every now and again, he will come and speak. Every now and again, he'll write an article. Every now and again, he'll give an interview. So if you hear that he's been made some position somewhere, you can't say that he came out of the blue. Okay? But he's also studied the economics well enough to know it, to speak about it. What I'm basically saying is that if we don't improve political party governance, and if we don't change the equation of who matters in the political party, and I'm saying this to both MPP, NDC, and all the parties, that if you don't raise the level of the people who you give prominence to, your people will come and chase you out of office because you have overpromised and underdelivered. All right, and we need more professionals and more non-political types in our politics. We have too many political types in our politics who only work as politics. We don't need that. Do you get it? We need non-political types too, because their opinions also matter and their experience also is valid. Okay, not all of them must become full-time politicians, but they must find a way of creating space for themselves in their parties, because the political parties are basically agglomerations of interest groups. So these professional forum people should be more serious. Even in MPP today, look at the state of the party. MPP professionals must get up and say, no, we have to salvage the party, and it is in everybody's interest for both parties or whichever party to be strong and be led by reasonable people. Otherwise, a galamseya who has a lot of money will come and take over and be your chairman. So, and you don't need to be an MPP member to be worried about what's happening in MPP. Neither do you need to be an NC member. You need to say that they are the people who, by reason of their organization, get to lead. If the quality of work they do is poor, all of us are affected. So it's a way we have to rethink politics and what it means to be a politician. Not everybody will join a branch to be an executive, but the parties must create space. As we speak here now, in this day they are doing a school. Okay, MPP, I don't know what they are doing. How do you train people to even understand your ideology? If I call the average NDC supporter in Medina and ask him, why do you support NDC? Can he explain it?
They can, but you won't like the answer.
All right, a few of your comments coming in on this. I won't call it a complicated discussion. Obviously, a difficult conversation to have, but that one has to be had.
Yeah.
Caleb, help me with some.
For example, Bernard Anthony is asking a question. He says, really, let's call a spade and not a spoon. Apart from Dr. Zaneto being an MP, what else do you really hear her do in the party? It's probably because it's probable that she doesn't even want it. Okay. Good morning, Citi team. If approved, can we get an explanation on how the Transport Ministry will respond to calls for alternative means of transportation in the country? And can we explore sea travel in addition to introducing railway as other cheaper means compared to expensive air travel? I think managing traffic situations in Accra will be very key if we want to see significant changes. Dennis from Medina, speaking to an issue we've discussed much earlier. Good morning, Bernard. Are the personal assistants to ministers and their deputy positions covered by the state? From Alex, and this is coming from Alex, and he says, congratulations to John Dumelo. We hope he changes the poultry industry. Okay, Farmer, good to see you. Congrats to John Dumelo. I'm very proud of him. We, the people of Likwe Township, are very, very happy. William Kakraba Kwashi.
Yo.
Good morning. I also
want that to put more food on your table tomorrow morning. You're entitled to be happy.
I also feel pity for them in the sense that they go to work and a multitude are waiting for them at the secretariat with their various problems. However, some also get to the institutions and they are aligned to talkatives and procurement-minded people rather than people who want to get the work done. You didn't add your name. But Kweku from Oyibi in Dodowa, I pity John Mohammed's new appointees who are in their 30s and early 40s, especially the CEOs of SOEs. Those who will fail will never get the opportunity to go to the private sector. The serious ones among them who are young and care about their future should reject these appointments. Kweku.
So who should do it?
Sure. But one of the effective CEOs Ghana had was Alex Mode when he was at the NPA. Many people thought it was a private company until he explained to them, and today his blueprint runs through the organization. You didn't add your name. Good morning, team. How did Malik Basinteli with no formal work experience but less than 3 years of you're asking questions that don't have answers to. It's like on you. Thank you for addressing this issue. This is a matter of grave concern that needs to be addressed. We hear of public sector reforms ministry every 4 years. What are they reforming? Most employees in our public services are highly demotivated because they don't see any career progression. When technical people in the organization are building the organization with their technical expertise coupled with the training acquired in the said field, some of these foot soldiers will be appointed to come and manage the place with no technical expertise or experience in the said area. This act by political parties, both the NDC and MPP, is killing our public institutions because employees in there do not see any career progression. You sent a very long one. You don't add your name. Thank you for that. Bernard, I believe we should not underestimate the immense effort and sacrifices involved in bringing a government to power. Many individuals work tirelessly, dedicating their time, energy, and resources to ensure electoral success. It's only fair that their contributions are acknowledged and appropriately rewarded or compensated. However, to ensure that government remains effective and results-driven, there should be clear performance benchmarks in place. Every appointee or beneficiary of such opportunities should be given well-defined targets, key performance indicators to guide their work. If they fail to meet these expectations, they should be replaced. This approach ensures that while loyalty and dedication are recognized, competence and accountability remain the primary criteria for holding positions in government.
Can I respond to this comment where you said people need to be rewarded and stuff? In a lot of countries, maybe because you are not there yet, our economy is not that big. People volunteer. They do this from the kindness of their hearts. Why? Because their reward is a country working well.
Thank you.
And the country working well is
benefits
the reward. It benefits all of us. So I understand what he's saying, that okay, you've worked hard, you deserve a reward, whatever. Maybe they should do party for you. Seriously, because politics it shouldn't be a job in the sense that I've worked, so I should get paid.
Yeah.
It matters all of us. It affects all of us. If the country works well, you see people taking their time after work. They go around for 3-4 hours, going to knock on doors, talking to people and stuff in other countries. My aunt does that. My aunt, when she finished her doing campaigning for the Labour Party in the UK, what did she do after that? She went back to her job.
So she's a volunteer.
And it's because the country is working, she can get her pension.
Yeah, it's bread and butter issues.
The context
so
also
here,
is that
if you are in a party at the local level, You are not. You are a member, and it's about what you can also get to chop.
Bernard, let me ask one question. My constituency is Ejumako Inyanisia. And then the MP for Ejumako Inyanisia is now the finance minister. Now, how would that benefit me as a person?
You can brag about it.
And then what?
It means you are a big man. Because your MP is the Minister of Finance.
What I'm saying is that, or my uncle, or he comes from my hometown.
It's a question of pride.
Then what?
That's the question. Do you want roads, or you want the roads minister to come from
do
your
demonstration. If you don't appoint somebody from my geographical area, then it means, I don't get it, because
maybe when he's doing protocol, you put your name inside.
No, what I'm saying is
maybe
that that's politicians who have created this vicious cycle, because they go promising it as a reward, and then it comes back to bite them. And even in the midst of it, they still keep promising people. They meet people and tell them that, don't worry, we'll deal with your situation soon. Don't worry, we want to.
Remember Jachi Kwesi? He was, when Mahama went there, he promised that if you vote for me, I'll make him a minister. So now, if the political language. So if the people of Asin not say, Charlie, I can't fall.
But K.T. Hammond was a minister, a senior minister at that. What happened to his constituency?
What do you mean?
They sacked him.
What did he do? I mean, what did he do?
He lost
to benefit the entire region. For me to go and put my neck on the line, and I'm using K.T. Hammond just as an example. To go and put my neck, he's a fancy, so he has to come. He has to be a minister, and he became a minister. Then what happened? And we should look at the bigger picture. How they plug into the whole puzzle.
So I guess the mindset of the average Ghanaian party supporter doesn't also help,
which the politician exploits when they are in need,
which then comes round to bite them when the people put pressure. So the politician must stop promising positions as a reward.
I mean, we are happy. Me, but I can talk about myself. I'm happy with some of the appointments. I mean, there are some I have no clue. I don't know what it means. Okay. No, seriously. I look at Dr. Victor Bampo.
NHI.
National Health Insurance Authority.
Solid.
If I go to Nigeria and they say, who's your national health insurance, the health who's managing, I am proud to mention his name.
Because he's done a lot of work.
Look at Exim Bank, Sylvester Mensah. This is what I'm saying.
He's working in the finance.
That's not to say they are perfect or flawless. I'm just saying that
you know them.
They fit.
You also know them. Which is also good.
I want to take us back to Caleb's question about youth and leadership. I'll answer as a young person. I can say I'm not 30 years, so I'm a young person.
Very young.
Thank you, I'm very young. So I think young people have lost faith in politics.
Generally. They've
lost faith in politics. My mom actually sent me research about it, and she asked me, do you agree with this? And I told her that, look, I talk to people my age. No one looks at politics as a way to change their country anymore. It's become, this is how you get rich. Easy. This is what people my age feel about politics. This is how to get rich. So if you are doing politics, clearly you have an agenda. You know what you want to do. You want to get rich. And this is why
that's what generation see.
No, seriously, they've lost faith. And this is why the survey she sent, this is from the UK. They are saying that they think the army should take over.
So this is not even Ghana. This is UK.
And it's also in Ghana as well. But I'm just giving an example. She was shocked because they said that the rise, people are thinking that
even the UK,
that the army should.
Even the UK. I think it was Channel 4 or ITV did it, and they said it was like 37% of youth in the UK feel like the army should take over. Like 45% feel like Parliament is holding back the leadership, and that should tell you.
So this despondency in politics is not just a Ghana.
It's a worldwide thing.
Young people generally
this is why you are seeing the rise of the far right around the world. It's all linked.
They're exploiting it
because basically young people have felt like
disillusion.
We are watching the world. We don't see it getting better. These people, they come, they talk. They argue about petty things. You see them brawling and things. For what?
Meanwhile, when they finish, they go and sit in the same job.
And it just looks like greed to us. So for young people right now, we are very disillusioned with politics. We don't see a way. When you talk about politics, like, this is a get rich scheme. These people don't care about us. This. So when you are talking, and that's why when Samens talked about the role models and the people you see in leadership, it's so important because all young people see right now in politicians is that these people don't care about us. These people want to get rich.
So if you have one or two examples of good quality people who are there, we should project them.
We should project them
as the ideal, and let's not project just somebody who rises through the ranks based on some
favoritism.
Because the truth is, a lot of young people this election didn't want to vote because they felt like, who are we voting
What's
for?
the point?
Because we're like, Mahama was sacked for a reason. This is their logic. So to bring him back for what?
Exactly.
Is it that these people are so bad? We have to. You see, a lot of people went into the election their mindsets that these are two bad options. Let me choose the least bad option.
Yeah.
Why are you choosing the least bad option? Why are you not choosing an option that speaks to what you believe in?
That's
who you think can change? And I think that when it's a serious problem. This is how young people feel about politics, because it feels like if people don't feel like they can change anything through politics, and they feel like it's unscrupulous people who enter politics, and people who are interested in money, and young people also believe that when we see our colleagues entering politics, are thinking,
this guy, I know where he lives, so I know where he started.
What's going on? Like, what's he trying to achieve? And that's a bad thing, because it means that the type of people who even be entering politics, if people who feel that they can change things are disillusioned.
So you think the young people who are in politics need to be better role models?
They need to be.
They have a responsibility. So let me give an example. I interviewed the Ashanti Regional Minister yesterday. I'm encouraged listening to him, and I hope he continues the way he went, because he was born in 1990. He's obviously young, 34 years old or 35.
Yeah, 35.
He understands.
It's almost getting out of university.
Yes, look at that. He understands. Can you imagine? You were because you were in second year or third year.
Yeah,
and that's when he was born.
Yeah, man.
Probably at KDUSC Hospital.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say. I'm encouraged when I see somebody like that. So I give him a platform because I want to project that not all young people in politics are bad.
Yes.
He's respectful, he doesn't insult, but he's actually quite knowledgeable about his field. He understands the complexity of the job he's going to do, and I only pray for him that he does well. And I think we need to protect such people and encourage them, because you see, if you don't talk to people, this is my theory, if somebody is rising and you don't help the person, a bad person will get to the person and influence them wrongly. Do you understand? So like, somebody is doing well, you need to pick a phone and call them and say, bro, we are watching you, please keep doing what you are doing. If you do wrong, we'll go against you, but keep doing what you're doing. Because some godfathers also somewhere seeking to influence him to start doing corrupt deals. And if he doesn't have people who can speak truth to him from his peer group or from the media, he will just get lost in this godfatherism thing, and in 10 years time you will not even recognize him again. So I just want to encourage people that when people enter into politics, you see, Ghanaians, we are not honest. We don't tell people the truth. Me, when my politician friends call me and they want me to advise them, I will tell you what I know to be true, because I wouldn't. A lot of people do like, oh Charlie, honorable Charlie, you guys, you are good.
You do.
No, you're not good. What you're doing is terrible. So you need to be able to also speak truth. So if somebody is your mate from school and is in politics, so when you meet your friends, you tell them. Don't pretend. You see, a lot of us, we are like two-faced. When he comes, you say, hey Charlie, hey, this guy was my mate, he's not a minister. Then you are even afraid to say, bro, your party, the way you are going, Charlie, we don't like it. Stop. Write on it. Let them know that they cannot buy your conscience, so they will respect your views and they will stay on the straight and narrow. Don't be fawning. Don't be obsequious. This whole full respect.
I want to respond to something you said.
I want to ask the reverse just before.
Yeah.
Are they even listening when people tell them the truth, or they will say, "Oh, you just don't like you"?
Oh, that's their own problem. Yeah, I'll tell you what I feel.
Just you are saying the truth doesn't mean they will listen.
Well, at least, but say it anyway.
Fair enough.
You know, when Susu mentioned how despondent some of the young people are, you know, every time I have this conversation with young people, and they, you know, those who didn't live through the coup days, say, yeah, we have the coup d'etat. I'm like, yes, the coup d'etat is not a movie, man. It's real. I mean, it's.
I'm glad you said this.
It is the situation where you don't even have the opportunity to speak the way you are speaking. That's first. You know, anyway, quick one. There's a book that was written by a man called Mr. Willie Ansa. He was the chief of staff for President Mills when he was vice president. Willie Ansa.
What's the book called?
The Stench of Khaki.
Oh, we need to get that book. The Stench of Khaki.
Yeah, The Stench of Khaki. And this book has been profiled in top universities in the US, in the UK, in Cambridge, SOAS, all these places. And it puts this whole military coup leadership versus civilian in proper context. And I think that we should read that.
We should get that
context.
context.
Yes, I was an NDC guy. You
so
know?
it gives some context around where we are in relation to where the military
take over as a pathway to economic freedom versus
using the other route. I think it's a good thing you are saying, because I think young people also need to understand a bit of history. Now, I am not delegitimizing your disillusionment, but what I'm trying to say to you is that, as with politics in life, you never really get handed an ideal option. Jobs, it's not just about the two parties. Even the jobs you do, sometimes the course you want to do, sometimes the person you want to marry, you may not get what you want. That's just the truth. So I feel like they need to also know that life is like that, and you use lemon to make lemonade. All right. So you choose the best option available, and you ensure you do your best to make sure that option works. That's what I would say to you.
No, I agree with you.
Don't say because we have two options, I'm not going to vote at all. I think that's a defeatist approach.
You've always said this, especially around elections.
Yeah, like
I've had this discussion with you many times.
I won't vote is not really the way to go. I feel like you should say, fine, you have an option not to vote, but what does it solve?
I always tell people that I won't vote in. People will vote.
Yeah.
Even if 3 people vote, let me not even say 3 is small. Let's say 10 people vote. Even 10 people vote. If somebody gets 5, somebody gets 4, and somebody gets 1, the person who gets 5 will lead the country. So those 5 people will decide everything. So at least do your best to influence the decision.
And then the last point to add, to see, every path has consequences. So the military path may appear to be a solution to disillusionment with the politics of monocracy, but under military rule there was a lot of corruption too. Right? So we should not glamorize. And I look at the Burkina Faso thing every week. People are sharing stories about Burkina Faso's leader doing this or that or the other. And I feel like,
you know, start calling you an enemy of Pan-Africanism if you say that those stories are verified.
If I feared what people will call me, I wouldn't be here today. So as for that one, it's not an issue. Let's have a reasonable debate. I'm saying that go and ask young people in Burkina Faso first whether what is put on social media is what's happening there. That's number one. Number two, for everything you get, you have to give away something. All right, so I feel like glamorizing some president in some country every day he's done something good. It's a very cheap way of just tickling yourself and laughing. All right, you need people who build structures, who give people an opportunity to thrive. We don't want messiahs in our society. So this messiah complex of some leader, he has done this, and we just say it gleefully, and we compare it to ourselves and say we are not doing well. It's funny. The fact that you and I are able to do this on air consistently for how many years we've done it in this country is better than most African countries, and we have to be proud of this. Now the trouble is we don't use it to do anything. It must change the way we think so we can take better decisions. That's the next level, but at least have that freedom first. So the perspective he talks about is important. Young people must also know that this idea that because democracy is difficult and there's a lot of corruption involved, we should go for the other option. That other option doesn't guarantee the success, and the little you have, it takes it away.
In fact, I think it's worse, because I always argue, people say this, that you actually want people who are even semi-accountable. At least if someone is corrupt and they are annoying you can vote them out. At the very least, the military, if they are corrupt and they are doing whatever, and you start talking, is it not firing squad they'll fine for you? So, and I don't know why, you see, people assume that the people they are going to put in charge will be principled, but that's even scarier, because you are going to a situation where the person you put in charge, you don't know whether they are principled or not. If they are not principled, you just have to look at it and say, you know what, sorry for us, but that's what we have to deal with. I think that's infinitely scarier. Like I won't say I'm happy with what things are going on. Me and my people my age are not happy. It's like we feel like our lives are not going as far as it can go. We feel like it's being taken away from us. But I don't think that getting rid of everything and putting some random person there and hoping that this person will be principled, this person will do the right thing, because there's definitely examples of people like that who have dragged their countries up, but I don't think that that's the majority. I think for every, what's the guy's name, is it the Singapore guy, I can't remember. For every Lee Kuan Yew there's about 3 Mobutus. Seriously.
We'll take a short break. No, today you are giving me things. For every Lee Kuan Yew, there's a Mobutu.
No. For every Lee Kuan Yew, there's 3 Mobutus. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.